Perfect.
Who better than Derek, Pat, Andrew, the wrestling crew? Man, they bout to put an end to y'all careers like a finishing move. They bout to give y'all facts on these cats that's fighting on these mats. Y'all can't see them like John Cena. Even if y'all had 20/20 vision, y'all better listen, pay attention, and take notes down and realize that it's not your time now. And watch these three kings take the crown. Hey, hey.
ECW Extreme referee Jim Molyneux telling you to listen to Wrestling IQ 101.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of WIQ 101. Make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube. And I'm Andrew, and alongside Derek.
What's up, guys?
And today we're sitting with Standalone's Preacher. How's it going?
What's up, man?
Not much. So, Preacher, man, let's talk about this, man. You used to be a wrestler, and now you're owning, your own promotion. How's the transition been?
Well, in all fairness, I've been a promoter for a really long time. So it wasn't much of a transition. I mean, the only thing that I'm still trying to get used to is not wrestling. I didn't quit wrestling because I wanted to. I quit because I had to. So, it's kind of a bitter pill to swallow. So I kind of dove into the other end of it, which I was already doing. So, currently I am one of the head trainers at CZW Academy, and I help out with their shows. I'm the production manager of their shows, and I just started managing as well over at H2O, so that's been pretty cool. So, I'm trying to stay in the business as much as I possibly can without letting myself get back in the ring. I'm trying to keep myself distracted so that I don't make that mistake.
Nice. So, just for our fans who are listening, can you just tell us, what were your challenges as a wrestler, and what are your challenges now as a promoter?
Okay, so challenges as a wrestler, mostly my size. I've never been a real big guy. I'm only 5'8", despite being able to do some high flying stuff, I am not a high flyer. So being a small guy who wasn't a high flyer, not always an easy sell to other promoters. So for everything that I ever accomplished in wrestling, which honestly I accomplished way more than I ever dreamed I ever would, I had to get everything kicking and screaming. I mean, there was no easy path ever, and I had to prove myself over and over and over and over again, which I was happy to do, man. And I did it, and I have zero regrets, man, at all. I really enjoyed being a wrestler, and now being a promoter. I guess the biggest challenge right now is how much the industry in and of itself is changing. Especially, there has been a boom in the independent scene over the last few years, and I shouldn't say unfortunately, but a lot of competition is popping up. A lot of companies are popping up here and there. Some good, some bad, and I guess that's probably the biggest challenge right now.
So how does Standalone separate itself from the rest of the pack?
Well, that's a good question, man. So, in 10 years of helping other people run their promotions, and for your fans that don't know me, I was a booker for the NWA. I also was a booker for several smaller independents as well, like the BWO and SWF, and I've been helping people backstage for a really long time, and I've also been a trainer for a really long time. So. All those things gave me a good perspective as to what works and what doesn't work when you're running an independent show. So at this point, I feel like I'm very well aware of what fans want to see, being one myself, and I feel like I'm going to really show people a good mix of what they loved about professional wrestling when they were a little kid to what they love about it now. I want to capture everybody's imagination. I want everybody walking away from standalone shows going, wow, man, that was really fun and a really good experience. That's what I want people to see.
Now, as far as like booking talent, what goes into that process, and what are you looking for when you're looking for talent to book for Stand Alone?
Okay, so the one consistent throughout our card for our first couple of shows is I am trying to use talent that, in my opinion, is being underutilized other places. Or I'm trying to use talent that you might not have even seen yet. Yes, I want to use wrestlers that are great. And we have plenty of established great wrestlers on our cards. But I also want to show people young, hungry, talented wrestlers that have something to prove, that really want to, show their best side, and we want to develop talent. We want to have guys that are standalone guys that people are like, oh, that's that guy from Standalone, and now he's everywhere. I want that for wrestlers. Being a trainer, I love watching guys develop, and seeing that, I get to see a lot of guys that have massive potential. And if you guys aren't aware, back in October, we did a tryout, which, everybody and their brother said to me. I said, I'm going to do a tryout. And everybody and their brother was like, you're going to do a tryout for an independent wrestling company? That's stupid. I'm like, really? That's stupid. All right, well, we'll see how that goes then. And what I did was I involved 8 other companies, one of them being CZW, and several other companies from the East Coast. And I said to guys, I'm like, look, man, I'm trying to get you noticed. So we're going to have, it's going to be a really low price, and it was. And all you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to show your stuff. And if you do well, you're going to get booked for several companies. And guess what? It worked like gangbusters. We had 40 wrestlers come from all over the country, most of which I am still in contact with right now, and several of which are on Standalone's first show, which quite honestly would not have happened had I not seen them at that tryout. And several of them have started working for CZW in the Dojo Wars program. Several of them have worked for Pro Wrestling Magic and several other companies. So, we really opened some doors for some guys, and I'm really proud of that.
That's awesome. So let's talk about Dojo Wars for a minute. You've been there since the beginning. How has it changed, from when you started till now, the progression?
Well, I think the biggest change really is that Dojo Wars became a product in and of itself. Kind of just like NXT did. It really started to take off, and I'm sure you can see that there's other companies starting to emulate what we're doing, and by no means are we mad about that. We're actually super happy about it. I want there to be more programs like Dojo Wars. I want young guys to have more places to try out their craft, to try new things before they get to the bigger companies, so that they know what they're doing before they get there. And really, Dojo Wars, when we started, it was really supposed to just be a program for guys to learn how to become a comprehensive wrestler, somebody who knows everything about the way wrestling works. And the whole idea of it was we would put veterans like myself and Drew Gulak and Joe Gacy in there with younger guys, so that they can learn the ropes, so they can figure it out. And I'm sure you've seen it's been an incredible success. A lot of those guys on the main roster of CZW now, and a lot of those guys wrestling all over the country, and some of them all over the world. So it's been awesome.
It's crazy because I was watching you and Brittany Blake wrestle. And that was incredible. And now you look at it now.
That was a good match, man. I was really, being that I'm one of the guys who trained Brittany, I was super excited to get the chance to wrestle her. And I got to tell you, man, I was really proud of that match. She did so well. She whooped my ass. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, she and that was just the beginning of what I believe is going to be an outstanding career.
Yeah, and even Kid Osborne, you guys, wrestle and look at him now. I mean, he's getting booked at Synergy and other places now. So it's kind of awesome that, you've been able to help other people with your skills as well. So
well, you know what, man, I was taught early on when I was training to do no harm, to go out there and try to leave the wrestling world a better place, and not be a negative person, not be a dramatic person and, cause problems and that kind of thing. That's not what I'm all about, man. I'm all about positivity, and I'm all about, trying to promote good things and trying to work together, rather than, all the drama that you hear about. I don't want to be involved in any of that, man. I'm too old for that crap.
Yeah. So as far as like when you started Standalone, like what did you use as your mold? Did you see like CZW as a mold, or like a traditional indie company as your mold, or is it something completely different?
I'll be honest, I don't feel like I used anything as a mold.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really good idea of what I wanted the company to be, and then myself and Chad Menace and Arlene had several talks and several meetings about what we wanted, what we didn't want. And the good thing about it, too, is we all have different opinions on what good wrestling is, all three of us, like literally completely different opinions. So it's been really fun, like trying to find a mix that would appease all three of us. Yeah. I think that is a dichotomy of what the wrestling fan base is, too. I feel like we're trying to appeal to people that, grew up watching John Cena, and to people who are chanting Okada, you know what I'm saying? So we're trying to find that happy medium that's going to keep everybody happy, and that's what wrestling's all about, man.
So the show is February 24th.
Yep.
How excited are you to see Emma?
You know what? Perfect example of what we talked about before. Emma is somebody that, in my opinion, because of politics or for whatever reason, was underutilized where she was. I feel like she proved to us right before her release that she was an outstanding wrestler and could hang with the best of them. Yeah. So I could not be any happier than to have her, in our locker room. I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to work with her. Tenille is very well known, around the world, and I'm looking forward to picking her brain a little bit too. So
that's awesome, man.
Earlier, I asked you what type of talent were you looking for. Now, I want to ask you, why should talent want to be a part of Standalone Wrestling?
Okay, so here's what I'm looking for from talent. Okay, because I can tell you we get emails and calls every single day for people that want to work for us, and that's just the way it is in the indie scene. When you got a new company that pops up, it starts to get some recognition, starts to get noticed because of good promotion. Mm-hmm. Wrestlers want to be involved, and I love that. But what I'm looking for is several things. Number one, person has to be a positive person. Anybody who's got negativity on their Facebook wall, on any kind of, on their Instagram, whatever you're using today, if I see you on your posts saying F this, F that, and, all that kind of stuff, you ain't never working for me. I don't care how good you are. So number one, I want a positive person. Number two, I want somebody who's hungry. I want somebody who wants it, who really wants to show the best that he can be or she can be. And number three, just like any other company, I'm looking for that intangible something, that spark that is captivating, that makes you want to see that person. And sometimes it comes in different forms. You have some guys that are physically captivating. You have some guys that are captivating in their ring work. You have some guys that are captivating in their promos. And all of those things can be utilized. So, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for superstars, quite frankly. I'm looking for superstars.
Okay. So this is what I find really interesting. How did you and Chad, come up with this idea to be partners?
We met through a mutual friend, Mr. Rob Fiore, who is the owner of SWF Wrestling. Yeah. At the time, I was starting to book for Rob, and Chad was working with Rob in a slight partnership. Mm-hmm. We had met, hit it off right away. And then, upon working with each other, things between Rob and Chad didn't work out. I mean, not in a negative way at all. We're still very good friends with him, and very, very happy that he's still successful and doing well, and happy to help him in any way still. So, nothing bad or anything like that. But, I mean, sometimes you click with somebody and sometimes you just don't. Yeah. So once that happened, he ran one last show down in the Atlantic City area, and that was pretty much Chad on his own. And he had called me up and asked my help putting the show together for him. Mm-hmm. So I helped him put the show together. He booked all the talent, but we put it together and gave him the best show that we could give him. And it went really, really well. And after that, we had several meetings. I'm a very cautious person, so we had several meetings talking about whether or not we wanted to work together. And then, after a while, it just started to feel natural. So we pulled the trigger and said, let's start this thing, man. Let's do it. And Chad Menace is one of those guys where he wants to go big or go home. So we started looking real hard and working real hard and. Going out there trying to get sponsorships and looking for talent all the time. And then we did the tryout. So, it's been a long process. We've been doing this for probably almost a year now, putting Standalone together.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it shows your hard work.
Now, when people look at companies, like CZW, you kind of get a thought of, what they stand for. Like, what do you want Standalone to stand for? Or what do you want people to think about when they think of your company?
I know it sounds simple, but the truth is, man, I really want people to have a good time. It is really that simple, man. Like, I want people, I want somebody who doesn't like wrestling to be able to come to our show and go, man, that was fun. That was really fun. That's what I want, because to me, that's what wrestling should be, man. Like, every memory that I have in wrestling, I don't know about you guys, man, I hope this is the same for you, but every wrestling memory that I have from when I was little is just super fun, man. Like, super, super fun. My daddy, we were real poor when I was little, so my daddy came home one day and found, quote unquote, found some tickets to go to the WWF at the time. And we had third row seats too, which I can assure you we could not afford. But it was life changing, absolute life changing. And the main event of that match is going to show my age right here. The main event of that card was Sergeant Slaughter versus Bob Backlund.
Oh, wow.
And it was a bloody mess, that match. I'll tell you what, man, it was bloody and gory and awesome.
Was that at the Garden?
You know what? I honestly don't remember if it was the Garden or if it was in the Meadowlands. Okay. But it was definitely one of those two, because those are the only two that were anywhere near where I live. So,
yeah. So Preacher, man, when you talk about the memories, you just brought some up. Who were some of your favorite wrestlers that inspired you growing up and through the years?
You know what, man? I've had so many different guys inspire me for so many different reasons. And some of them, some of the younger guys today won't even remember, it was my pleasure before he passed away a couple of years ago, it was my pleasure to become friends with Nick Bockwinkel.
AWA.
Oh, yeah. It was just such an amazing talent, man. Like, somebody who captivated you with his promos and just was phenomenal in everything that he did. And just like everybody else, I was an Arn Anderson fan, and I like the darker characters too, man. When ECW came around, I was digging on Raven and wound up training eventually with Nunzio, which was kind of cool. So, getting to meet half of those guys too. I mean, if you'd have told the kid in me, about that when I was, when I was little, hey, you're going to meet these guys someday, I'd have been like, get the hell out of here, But yeah, man, I've met so many cool guys and even gotten to wrestle so many cool guys over the years, man. That it's been an awesome experience, man. I'm totally digging it.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Bockwinkel was great with Bobby the Brain Heenan and stuff like that. That was some great stuff.
I got to meet Bobby. Yeah, he was an amazing person as well. Yeah. Such a great manager, man, as well. And that's something that I feel like is really missing a little bit in wrestling right now, is a really good manager. I mean, there's a couple, don't get me wrong. But I feel like that's an art that that's not as as prevalent as it used to be in wrestling.
Yeah, so Preacher, you just booked EYFBO, better known now as LAX. You have Emma now, Tennille.
Yep.
The kid in you inside, who would be the ultimate star to bring in, if you could, past, present, or future, if you could do it, that one person,
Oh, I got to tell you, man, I don't think there would be one person. There is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
hard.
one person that ever, was the person for me.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of guys that I loved,
Mhm.
and there's plenty of guys that I wished I had wrestled and that kind of thing. But
Okay.
I mean, as far as booking, I don't know yet, man. Like, I'm still, even though I've been booking for a long time, man, I'm still learning about booking, in my opinion. And I try to learn something every day, and I'm not sure who that one person would be, to be honest.
Can I give you my guy?
Sure.
Wrestling superstar Virgil.
Virgil?
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Well, you can talk to Joey Janela about that, Joey.
That's his
Joey,
dad.
I'm sure, can get Virgil here, toot sweet.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. And he should thank Joey, man, because Joey gave him a nice little resurgence there for a little bit there.
And-
Seriously.
and both Joey Finale is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I have known Joey since he was a teenager. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I have a match that I've been thinking about putting up online for a while now of a teenage jumping Joey Janela versus a teenage Darius Carter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I sooner or later I'm probably going to pop that up online, man. Definitely.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice. What do you think about the wrestling scene today, as far as like WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor? Like, how do you feel about wrestling today?
I think it's great, man. I'm still just as enamored with it as I was when I was younger. I mean, there's certain aspects of it that I like more than anything. In my personal opinion, I believe that NXT is doing it better than everybody right now.
Really?
Yeah, that's my opinion. Because I feel they're giving everybody good matches, good stories, and developing people really well. There's a whole, there's that whole talk of the sport of professional wrestling and the funner side of funner, is that a word? The more fun side of professional wrestling. Like there's, and I guess there's two completely different thoughts on it, but to me, I don't see why we have to choose, man. I love both sides of it. I'm down for either. One of the things I really enjoyed about this year's Wrestle Kingdom was the fact that every match gave you something completely different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just like crazy match after crazy match. I mean, they were all really different, man. Like, the hair versus hair match was brutal, and then, you had a really clever match with Cody Rhodes and Ibushi, and then Jericho and Omega. I mean, come on, that was a fun match, man. I mean, I loved it, man. I loved the whole thing. It was, it was good from beginning to end.
Nice. Now, as far as like with standalone, do you see yourself building storylines, or do you see yourself as month to month? How some companies do, they just bring in names and just kind of match guys up based on.
Yeah, I'm not real big on just matching guys up. I mean, I wanna have stories. Unfortunately, at first, we're going to do the best we can as far as telling stories, because the problem being is right now we're not in a position where we want to run that frequently.
Gotcha.
We want to, right now at least, while we're building standalone, what I want to do is I want to do, a couple of shows, a handful of shows maybe, in our first year, just so that every time there's a standalone show, it's an event. It's not just, we can just go next month if we can't make it this month.
Mhm.
No, I don't want that. I want you to be so enamored with my product that you need to come every time we put on a show. That's the goal, in my opinion, is to give something to people that get them so excited that they can't wait for it to happen again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Preacher, tell us about the card for Liftoff.
So I got to tell you, man, our card's stacked. Even the guys on the show keep coming up to me, and they're like, "Man, I can't wait for this show. It's going to be so amazing." And I hear it every day, and it's getting me more and more excited every time. So we have Tennille, who's formerly Emma, and she's going to be wrestling Brittany Blake, which is going to be an outstanding match. Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy, in my opinion, not just because we've been friends for a really long time, but honestly, like from somebody who's been to a lot of shows, to a lot of different companies, to me, Joe Gacy is the wrestler. He can do any style. He's good every time he goes out. He is amazing. And to have him up against Martin Stone, who is Danny Burchett in NXT, I mean, that match is going to be phenomenal. Anybody who's not excited for that match is not a wrestling fan. I mean, come on. That match is going to be incredible.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And, we have lots of matches on this card where we're going to introduce a lot of new wrestlers to everyone. We got Tracy Hot Sauce Williams against Brandon Kirk. Brandon Kirk up and coming.
Yeah, the road.
Hot Sauce is already there, man. You know what I mean? And that match is really exciting to me because as a booker, the most exciting kind of match for me personally, okay, is when you do what like the old UFC did. You mix two styles. You have one style of wrestler and another style of wrestler, and they collide. That's exciting to me. And I think that match is going to be, possibly a show stealer, honestly. And, if you've been watching Impact, you know just how good LAX is. You know how good EYFBO is. I mean, they've been good for a long time. I've known those guys for a long, long time. And you want to talk about hard work and hard dedication. I mean, those guys just have it. And then they're going up against the Rep, who are the current CZW tag champions, I believe. And, quite frankly, I have had a little bit to do with their progress. So I'm pretty excited for that match. I want to see, that go down again. It's gone down in the past, but at the time, I feel like the Rep wasn't ready. Now they're ready and ready to kill somebody. I'll tell you what, that's going to be a barn burner for sure. Yeah, so, you got that and so much more, man. We got a lot of good matches are going to happen that night. We're going to introduce you to guys like DeMarcus Kane, Danny Gallagher, Stephon Pennington. The list goes on and on. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We got Ryan Gallione on the card, Blackwater. We're going to have a lucha match. We got Tulpa, who is one of my students, against Dante Caballero. Oh, that was some good Spanish right there. I totally nailed that. So they're going to give us a little bit of lucha flavor there. So I'm pretty excited about that, man. And again, going back to the Wrestle Kingdom thing, I want to give people something different every single match. I don't want any matches to be similar, man. Not at all. I think it should be very interactive and very exciting. And Chad and Arlene and I are really taking our time and doing all of this right. We're really we're working on the set right now. We're working on lighting, so it's going to be an exciting show, and it's going to blow your socks off. I guarantee it.
So, can you tell people when the show is and where it is and how they can get tickets if they want to go?
Absolutely, I can. So the show is February 24th. That is Saturday, February 24th. It is going to be in Mays Landing at Atlantic Cape County College, Building E. It is a big gymnasium, but you won't be able to recognize it when you get in there. I promise you, because it's gonna look It's gonna look like a wrestling arena by the time I'm done with it. And what you need to do is everybody get a pen. Hurry up! I'll wait a minute. Go ahead. All right then. Now here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to StandAloneWrestling.com right now. Don't wait. Go right now, because all the good seats are going, and they're going quick. So you want to go right now and get your tickets, all right? And then you're going to hang up, call your friends, and tell them to get their tickets too. So we have a big party. And then afterwards, we're going to go, there's a bar about a mile away. We're going to go there. We're going to have an after party. And you get to party with the wrestlers and hang out with us. It's going to be super fun, and we're going to drink probably till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Sounds good.
And also, where can people get you on social media if they want to keep up with any standalone events? Maybe you or Chad.
Absolutely, man. You can find us on Standalone Wrestling. We have Standalone Wrestling everything. So Standalone Wrestling Facebook, StandaloneWrestling.com. You can reach us via email, standalonewrestling@gmail.com. Now, if you want to reach out to me on Facebook, feel free. I just made some room on my friends list, so you can definitely come on in there. So I'm under Phineas James, so that's FINNEUS James. Unfortunately, I had to take Preacher off of Facebook because some guy from some place in Alabama, tried to claim that I wasn't a preacher, and they started questioning me, and I'm like, you know what, man, if it makes you feel better, I'll just take the stupid name off. So now I'm just Phineas James, I guess, but everybody still calls me Preacher, so whatever.
Nice.
So, Preacher, before we let you go, you have another show coming up in August featuring WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg.
Yeah.
Tell us about that as well.
All right, so this is going to be really cool. Now, I'm sure you all heard that today it was announced by WWE that Goldberg is going to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing, man. We are planning not just a wrestling show. We are planning a wrestling weekend that weekend. Okay, so it's going to be August 25th is the day of the show. However, we'll be there the 24th and the 25th. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a dinner with the stars. So you get to have dinner with the wrestlers, and I'm sure you guys know because you run a podcast on wrestling. There ain't nobody better at telling stories than wrestlers.
Yeah.
So you're gonna hear stories. We're gonna get drunk. We're gonna have some food. We're gonna have a good time.
Nice.
Then the next day we're gonna do a signing all day. So we're gonna do signing. So it's gonna be like a convention.
Okay.
And we're gonna do so many cool, fun things that you guys are gonna be able to enjoy. So you can cut promos, and we'll send you the promo. We'll teach you some wrestling holds. We got promo pics. You can take promo pics. There's going to be so many cool things that day. You can play video games with the wrestlers. That's going to be another fun thing that day. And then, of course, you get to meet Goldberg amongst a bunch of other stars that are going to be there. You can check our Facebook and our website for those updates. And on February 24th, at our first show, we are going to announce another huge star that's going to be there on the August show. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
do not want to miss it. Tickets are going really fast, so don't wait. Get them because you don't want to wait in a long line the day of a show. You don't want to. You want to get in there. You want to meet who you want to meet. So get your tickets now. You won't have to wait. You can come right in.
Yeah, and who knows? You might be next.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Man, so that's awesome, Preacher. I mean, everyone check out Standalone Wrestling February 24th, and also the weekend of August 25th. Great things coming from Standalone Wrestling, and hopefully you guys tons of success, and
Definitely.
and we'll be looking to see what you guys do in the future. So
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man. Keep an eye because we're going to blow up.
Nice.
well, hopefully big things. And for us, we are Wrestling IQ 101. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. You can follow us on the B Plus Player Network, and also use the hashtag WIQ 101 to join the conversation.
And we are out.
See ya.
You have just listened to the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast, powered by B Plus Player Radio.
One more for the good guy.